Let's get right on into it. Let's get right on into it. Come on in, subscribe, share the information, like it, do what you want. I encourage you to do that. Let's pour some juice. Jaylen Brown posts cryptic message after Derek White replaces Kawhi Leonard on Team USA. Come on in, pour some juice. We'll be brief. Jaylen Brown posts cryptic message after Derek White replaces Kawhi Leonard on Team USA. Jaylen Brown showed some disappointment and being passed over after Kawhi Leonard declined on playing for the Dream Team due to continuous injuries. So the next obvious person to replace him would which should be the next person to replace him should no doubt be the best player, or the player who's the best at the moment. And that would be the question, who recently has won the NBA championship, who recently has won the Eastern Conference player, who recently has won the Finals MVP. And to all three of those questions, the answer is Jaylen Brown. We did a video on him recently saying that he was arguably, we believe, the best player in the world at the moment. So why not take the best player in the world with you on the road, on a pursuit of a gold medal? It's very interesting. You gotta look at this. It always goes to show that the NBA and the process of basketball, the best players are not always picked. People don't understand that. The best coaches, the best players, they're not always picked. The best players don't always make it. They don't always make the cut. Sometimes it's politics and politricks which are behind the scenes working, outweighing the merit, outweighing the talent of that particular player. So what do we suggest, or what do we believe was transpired or was taking place here with Jaylen Brown? We already alluded to it in a previous video. We told you how Jaylen Brown was 10 toes down when it came to certain circumstances surrounding the Kyrie Irving situation. Okay? Let's take a look at this article real quick. If I can find it, let me see. Here we go. USA Basketball men's managing director Grant Hill denied on Wednesday Jaylen Brown's insinuation he was not Kawhi Leonard's replacement on the USA team for 2024 Paris Olympics because of Brown's previous relationship with Adidas and Brown's criticism of Nike, USA Basketball's longtime partner. At Nike, this is what we doing. Brown, the Boston Celtics star and 2024 NBA MVP final, posted on social media. So Brown went to social media. He said, Nike, this is what we doing. USA Basketball on Wednesday replaced Leonard with Derek White, Brown's Celtic teammate. No disrespect to Derek White. Derek White has game. We know he can ball. He helped them win that championship. But the best player, no doubt, was the Finals MVP, Jaylen Brown. Now they come up with some nonsense. You got 12 spots. You have to build the team, Hill said. And one of the hardest things is leaving people off the roster that I am a fan of, that I look forward to watching throughout the season, throughout the playoffs. Guys who've been Finals MVPs, guys who've been a part of the program, guys who won gold medals, guys who I respect, admire, and enjoy watching. Grant Hill said a bunch of nothing. But the responsibility that I have is to put together a team that complements each other. Blah 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 blah. I'm going to ignore the best two-way player in the world. Let's get to the nuts and bolts as to what possibly happened here, please. See right here. Here we go. Brown was critical of Nike. Understand? Brown was critical of Nike when the athletic shoe and apparel company ended its relationship with Kyrie Irving. Now be mindful, we did a video on Kyrie Irving called The Crucifixion of the Kai about a year ago. We talked about how they were out of pocket in a most hypocritical sense. If the word hypocrisy popped up, it would have been right there with Stephen A. Smith's words, Shay Shay's words, Barkley's words, Shaquille O'Neal's words, and they were all trying to kill the Kai. And we explained that. And they exonerated men like Andy Jassy, who is a member of the Jewish community, who's actually the CEO of Amazon, who allowed this film right here, or this is right here, over Irvin's promotion of an anti-Semitic film. The film is not anti-Semitic. The film was a documentary. The film is still being played on Amazon. Amazon has a Jewish CEO, Andy Jassy. There was no smoke given to him. So when Brown stood up for Kyrie Irving, it was justified, family. It's just that simple. Brown was critical of Nike when the athletic shoe and apparel company ended its relationship with Kyrie Irving over Irvin's promotion of an anti-Semitic film. It's tough to have conversations and tell people that they're not on the team. Hill said, and I know I talked about this in the past, blah, 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 blah. Hill is just rambling. I rock with Hill. Hill's my guy. I got a lot of love for Hill, but he's just rambling. He's just explaining why they didn't pick him and why politics, as usual, are being played out. It's just that simple here. Let's go on over here real quick. I want to take a look at this. Oh, here we go. Let's have a little fun. Stephen A. Smith weighed in. First and foremost, first, let's give Stephen A. Smith congratulations on his newly signed deal of $125 million by the ESPN network. Here on this side of the channel, we clearly say Stephen A. Smith is worth every nickel signed. He is one of the hardest working slaves you will ever find. He has dedicated his mouth, his virgin hole, and his soul for that contract. How much does a mouth, a virgin hole, and a human soul cost? Stephen A. will tell you $100 million plus. Okay, now back to Jaylen Brown and Agent Smith's comments. Says, do y'all believe me now? No, nigga, no. No, we do not. I will never believe you. Do y'all believe me now? Yo! Do I need to reveal my sources now? Yes, please. Please reveal your sources. Is it not obvious now? No, nigga. How in the heck is a 300 million man now a champion and an NBA Finals MVP who's clearly a top two player on the Celtics, actually the top player, but nonetheless, and a top 15 player in the world. He's the top player in the world at the moment. Nonetheless, not chosen for Team USA. Now, using the law of the universe duality, there's two ways you can look at this. From Stephen A. Smith's perspective, he's alluding to his previous comments, trying to suggest that no one likes Jaylen Brown. But in the game of basketball, it has nothing to do with like or dislike, Agent Smith, if you ever played the game. It's not a matter of liking and disliking amongst the players. The matter of disliking and liking comes amongst the players' handlers. The players' handlers don't care for Jaylen Brown because he excludes them from contract negotiations. He does not allow them to have their hands in his pockets. Do you understand? You do, but you won't explain it like this. I will, though. Stephen A. Smith's perspective on this is very interesting because he will have you believe he speaks from the culture that he speaks from the perspective of the player, but he actually speaks from the perspective of the plantation, the organization, the manager, and the overseer. That's who he speaks from. You understand? That's the perspective in which he speaks. Stephen Agent Smith, he ignores the supremacists, the Zionists, the globalists who have colonized and destroyed his home country. You follow me? The British Virgin Islands, in which his family has immigrated from. And because he has anti-black resentment as an immigrant, we define him and classify him as a tether. All people that immigrate are not tethers. But if you have anti-black resentment and an immigrant, anti-black immigrant, then we classify you as a tether. His hate is geared towards black American basketball players like the Jaylen Browns, like the Kyrie Irvings, and these two in particular because they represent consciousness. They represent black consciousness. Understand? That's what he hates. That's what he hates. And he hates it because the very country which he comes from, they were colonized. They were colonized. They were forced out of that country. And rather than blaming the globalists and blaming the supremacists who have destroyed his country, he comes here and sides with them. And they pay him handsomely. And in siding with them, he now has to ignore white supremacy, has to ignore the globalists, the Zionists, the bankers, the racists who run his plantation station. He has to ignore all of this and begin to come up with other narratives as to why they are trying to exclude these two particularly conscious ball players, because all liars will have their portion, and you classify as a lying tether. You've attached yourself to the black culture, to the black community, but your true intention is to undermine it for your own profit and gain as you serve the entertainment sports plantation. It makes absolutely no sense at all for Jaylen Brown not to be on that squad. But we know it's politics and politricks as usual. And no, hell no, we don't believe you, nigga. Are you crazy? Do y'all believe me now? No, hell no. You can't be serious. This only confirms for me the fact that they're playing a lot of games. They're purposely trying to slow this man down, separate him, demonize him, probably because his ideals to them are seen as radical. He's not the type of shut up and dribble type guy. He's not a $40 million slave like a lot of these athletes are. Unconscious beings, monkeys if you will, putting an orange ball through an orange hoop, $40 million slaves. And when a free one walks around like a Kyrie or a Jaylen, he has the power to infect the others. That's what they don't like. And that's why Stephen Smith is a true agent. He doesn't want the Neos to wake up the others in the Matrix. And that's why he is Agent Smith. Let's go on back over here real quick. Make it make sense though, fam. Make it make sense to me. Make it make sense. The best player in the world can't get a spot on the roster? Yeah, I got you. I know how they do. That's what they do. That's what they do. you notice how, I'm going to leave that alone. That's enough juice for the day. That's enough juice for the day. I mean to say this too. I suspect that some of the players who are closely attached and associated with Nike, for example, LeBron James, See, Nike has a strong hold over some of these basketball players too. Be mindful of that. Nike has a strong hold over some of these basketball players. So they're not going to speak out as they should. They're not going to speak truth to power. And then so Nike's handlers who handle some of these athletes can now contact them and say, okay, they're not going to select Brown. We don't need you saying anything about this though publicly. See, that's the next thing I'm waiting for. I want to see if there are going to be any players on the Dream Team, right? They're going to speak up and out against this. I can almost guarantee you there won't be any. There won't be any. How about that one? There won't be any. They're going to be locked in right along with the narrative of Nike, because that's who's pays them. And then so now if Nike is threatening players by claiming that they are anti-Semitic and then threatening to take away some of their contracts, that can be endangering to a player's brand. Some players really care about that. Most players really care about that. The conscious ones, the very few conscious ones don't, and they begin to try to separate these conscious players from other players in fear of they may become infected with consciousness. So they don't want Jaylen Brown around a whole lot, because they know he's going to speak truth. He's not going to have a plantation conversation. It's going to be a knowledgeable one. How do you know this, Bart? Because I've seen white racists control the game, and I've seen their practices firsthand, and I know they would rather have you isolated than around other players who you can infect with your thoughts as they see it. But it makes absolutely no sense for JB to not be on this Dream Team. He could truly help them win. They need those defensive wing players, but I truly believe this is a bunch of political nonsense, and we're bearing witness to it in real time. And you're seeing how the agents come out and play, how the agents come out and try to cover up the political, lying, deceptive narrative. But these anti-black immigrant tethers, like the Andy Garcias, the Candace Owens, the Stephen Agent Smiths, they're being called out.